we have Jeff Dow, CEO, President, and Director of 60 Degrees Pharma. Jeff, great to have you today.
You too, Craig. It's great to see you again.
Jeff, for those unfamiliar with 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals, could you provide an overview of the company and its focus on developing therapeutics for infectious diseases?
Yeah, we're a clinical and commercial stage biopharma company, which is pretty unusual. We have one approved product, ARAKODA, for malaria prevention, which is available in the US commercially and generating sales, and then a research program to expand in the use case for that product in the US market. And we're focused on small molecule therapeutics, so not vaccines or biologics.
ARAKODA is your FDA-approved drug for malaria prevention, and it has shown impressive year-over-year sales growth. How is it positioned in the market, and what strategies are you implementing to expand its reach?
Yeah, so ARAKODA was approved back in 2018. We have been seeing some pretty strong demand growth over the last couple of years and are pretty excited about the trends we've been seeing. The product is positioned differently from other anti-malarial drugs for kind of three reasons. Firstly, it's a weekly product. Some of the alternatives are daily, and that's not so good for people who struggle to remember, to take a tablet every day. It's effective everywhere in the world, and there's no drug resistance, and that's unique amongst competitor products. And of course, it's active against all the life cycle stages of malaria, which means your post-exposure prophylaxis requirements when you get back from a trip abroad are better than the alternatives.
The first patient has been enrolled in an expanded access study for persistent babesiosis. What are the goals of this study, Jeff, and how does it align with your broader clinical development strategy?
So it's really interesting. Last year, Yale published a study showing that Tafenoquine, which is the active molecule in our commercial product, ARAKODA, when combined with standard of care products, cured patients with relapsing babesiosis who are immunosuppressed. And in that patient population, the babesiosis, which is an infectious disease a lot like malaria, can reoccur, leading to further hospitalizations. And at least in the patients they evaluated it in, our product was really the last line of defense. And so we think there's a really important unmet medical need there, and that trial is designed to confirm the findings of that Yale study and hopefully lead to an expansion of the label for babesiosis in the future.
Beyond Tafenoquine, you're evaluating other compounds such as Celgosivir. What opportunities do you see for expanding your pipeline, Jeff, and how do these align with market needs?
I guess, so one of the things we're interested in is veterinary uses for Tafenoquine, which is the active ingredient of ARAKODA. There are a lot of tick-borne diseases that affect both companion animals and livestock and agriculture. So we've got some things cooking there that are interesting. And then, of course, we have Celgosivir as an antiviral, which we're evaluating in non-clinical studies at the moment with a view to going into the clinic down the road.
What are the key milestones investors should watch for in 2025, particularly regarding that pivotal babesiosis study and ARAKODA's expanded rollout?
So, of course, we have 3 small trials in babesiosis. One is a hospital study in severe disease, and I think that's what you're referring to. We're pretty confident we'll meet our recruitment goals by the end of the summer. Tick-borne diseases are very cyclical, and so we're in a little bit of a hiatus at the moment, but we should be complete with enrollment with that study later in the year. And then that will pave the way to some interim data generation in 2026. And then the other 2 studies that are in the works are the relapsing study that you mentioned, where we've randomized 1 patient. And hopefully we'll see a few more patients in that study during the course of 2025. And then, of course, we also recently announced IRB approval of a study in chronic babesiosis, which we hope to get started in Q3.
Jeff, management plays a crucial role in the success of smaller cap companies. What can you tell us about some of the key players on your team?
So, Tyrone Miller, our CFO, and myself have been running the company together for 10 years before we went public. We have a really good chemistry and team there. And then we were joined by Kristen Landon, our Chief Commercial Officer, early in 2024. And she's really spearheading the efforts on the commercial side to expand the use case and use of ARAKODA. And of course, I should have mentioned earlier that one of the key drivers of our revenue growth over the next sort of 12 months or so is going to be linked intimately to a commercial pilot study, which will get up and running soon, where we've partnered with IQVIA to test market messaging and some direct sales interaction with physician groups to try and expand the use of ARAKODA for malaria.
Jeff, let's wrap up with the essential value proposition. Why should investors take an interest in 60 Degrees Pharma today?
Well, we like to joke internally we're the smallest Nasdaq listed company with an FDA approved product. And that embodies both the value and the risk and the benefit right there. We've obviously been to see the FDA before. It's not our first rodeo, so we know how to get a drug approved. We're confident we can do that again with a label expansion of Tafenoquine. And of course, because of the currently low valuation, it's probably a pretty good time to buy. And we see, more sales in the future and more de-risking as our clinical trials commence.
Jeff, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thanks a lot, Craig. I appreciate the opportunity.